A real woman is beautiful, patient, kind, and most importantly, has strength.
She got it, independent, don't need nobody.
She don't need nobody.
Work, hustle, grind hard.
What else she do?
She inspire, she got it, building up her empire.
That girl be working.
Work, hustle, grind
She
hard.
just taking over the world.
She inspire.
Work.
Wine and dime, she got no time.
Ooh.
Motivated on the
She like to grind.
Hustle through the week, she even hustle in her leisure
I see
time.
you, little mama.
Really classy and she fine. Meet her at the finish line. Catch her at the gym, you know she put in
that work, huh?
overtime. Working, chasing her dreams, that's all she know.
That's all she know.
Looking on the screen. There go Mo.
What's up with your mo?
Women who inspire
Network.
just to change the world.
She gonna change it too.
All my ladies said with me.
Who run the world?
You know them women run the world. She got it, independent, don't need nobody.
You got it, little mama.
Work, hustle, grind hard.
Welcome to another episode of Wine Talk. Today we have our special guest, Nunny. How are you today, Nunny?
Hey, Marissa, I'm doing good. Thank you for inviting me.
No problem. I'm happy to have you here today. I know you have a very important story to share with everyone. So tell me, how was your week, first of all?
My week was pretty good. I'm just coming back from Texas, San Antonio, Texas. It was a conference that I was invited to. Women with metastatic breast cancer, trying to change racial disparity. And so I had a good week.
That sounds good. So tell me a little about yourself.
Of course, I always tell people, some people know me by Nunny, some people know me by Keela. It just all depends. I had one lady come up to me and she asked me what was my name, and I said Nunny. She was like, "Are you telling me none of your business?" And I said, "No, but that's the name that I had since I was little." But I'm born and raised here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I'm married to my husband, Scott. It's going to be 20 years come January.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And we have 3 boys. I have a 21-year-old, 20, and a 10-year-old.
So you stay busy.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
So going back into your background, what brings you here to tell about your story?
I have people come up to me all the time asking, because I share my story a lot on Facebook. One of the things, I didn't think this would be something that I'd actually be doing, but I started to share my story on Facebook because when I was first diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer, I was completely lost. I didn't know anybody that had breast cancer. Didn't see anybody that looked like me that had breast cancer. So I wanted to share my story to have other women to reach out and kind of see, some things that I can find out, how to educate myself. When you don't have anyone to turn to, you kind of become your own advocate, and which is kind of what I did. I prayed about it, how to change my faith and my relationship, and how to really deepen my relationship with God, and how to, really depend on my faith. And everything started to change for me at that time. I tell you I have a story. So I don't know how much you want me to share, how much time we have, but I will start off saying that in 2015, I felt a lump in my breast. And I pretty much did things that we are taught to do as women. You check your breast. If you find anything, you call your doctor and you go to the doctor and get checked out, which is what I did. And when I went to the doctor, at that time, they told me that the lumps that I had in my breast was benign. Well, of course, I'm thinking the basic, whatever they tell you is pretty much what you go by. So they told me that the breast tissue was benign, to come back if I felt anything different. And, I have fatty tissue and my breast was very dense. I didn't really understood what majority of that stuff, what it meant. If I was to see my report today, I would have had options, and I would have asked for like an ultrasound, or I would have asked for a biopsy. So that way we can double check and make sure, because when your breasts are really dense, basically you can't see what's behind it. And but I just pretty much trusted what they said and just went on about life. And 2 years later, I started having issues and bruises on my skin, sensitivity to light. Went back to the doctor, and at that time they thought it was lupus. They diagnosed me with lupus. all the tests came out positive except for one. Well, started taking medication for lupus, and something still didn't seem right to me. I still was having like a lot of pain, still having issues going on, and at that particular time, I just started having like severe back pain. And then I noticed that I had a new lump, but this time it was under my arm. And you know, sometimes as females, when we shave, we get little cysts up under my arm, and that's what I thought it was. So I called back to the radiology department and spoke to someone that I knew there and asked them what did they think, you know, should I get another test done? And she indeed said yes. Because I didn't even know at that time that the breast, whenever you have breast cancer, it can spread up and to your lymph nodes and things of that nature. So this is all, you know, new to me, stuff that I didn't know.
Now the lumps, did they were they any type of pain or anything that you noticed as far as the lumps, or did you just notice them there?
No, it wasn't painful. The only thing that I noticed that was painful was like my back. I had like severe back pain and just pain throughout like my legs. So I thought maybe it was the medication that they put me on for the lupus. And when I called the doctor, asked her, she said, no, it's not normal for you to have severe pain, not to that extent. So once I called over to the radiology department, got an order to have another mammogram done, since I had a new lump put in my arm. This time they decided to do an ultrasound while I was there. And after the ultrasound, they told me they'll give me a call. And so I waited for their phone call. Before I got to work, I received the phone call and went into my office. My best friend and the doctor that I worked for was actually in my office with me. And I knew at that time something was different because I work in the medical field now. And looking at their face, the tech face that day, it was different. It was almost like I want to tell her something so bad, but I can't. And for some reason, I had a feeling something different was going to be told to me, which it was. I received a phone call, and they indeed told me that it was breast cancer. At that time, you know, they said they were going to send me to a surgeon because we were just thinking it's, you know, breast cancer. We're going to go ahead and get the mastectomy, have the chemo, and that's just the things that they follow up, and that's how they usually go by steps. But I didn't realize at the time there are stages to it, and there are just certain things that you can do and that you can't do. So I'm thinking, you know, hey, I'm gonna get a mastectomy, remove the boobs, start chemo, and go on about life. But it wasn't that simple. When they scheduled me to go see the surgeon, she came back because I had some additional tests done at that time. She came in the office and she had tears in her eyes, and I was like, okay, this is a physician. Why is she coming here with tears in her eyes? And me and my husband, when we were sitting in the office, you know, they had like little posters, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4. And I knew stage 4, at that time, all I knew was death because my dad passed away from stage 4 colon cancer. So when you're not really in the cancer world, you don't understand a lot of things. You don't know a lot of things. So we're looking at the poster, and I'm just like, thank goodness it's not stage 4, because I'm thinking stage 4, that's it. You know,
right.
You're gone. So when she walked in, and she was like, Ms. Reese, we're not going to be able to do surgery. We're not going to be able to start the process of chemo because your cancer had already spread to stage 4. And at that time, I was just like spaced out. And the first question my husband asked, he looked at her and said, is she going to die? And I kind of lost it at that time, you know, because here I am young, you know, I'm a mother, wife, and my husband's asking, am I going to die? So that was very emotional. And again, like I said, I felt lost because I didn't know anything. I didn't know anybody that was diagnosed with cancer. So I'm thinking, where am I going to begin? Like, what treatment am I going to have? What am I going to have to go through? All I knew was a change was going to come. How big was this change going to be in my life now? Right. And so, of course, you know, she scheduled me to see another doctor. And I started my care off at the local hospital here. And once I started the treatment, you know, things just wasn't working in my favor, I can say. And I had to move my treatment to a bigger cancer center, which was at USC. And I started treatment there. And once I started treatment, When I tell you your world changes, it changes. And I was not ready for what my body was getting ready to go through, my family was getting ready to go through, my friends was getting ready to go through, my career. I wasn't ready for any of that.
Right.
I had no idea what was about to take place in my life. And I didn't have a lot of people to turn to because, like I said, when you're young, all you think is and all you know is that breast cancer happened to older, people, and it runs in your family.
Right.
None of that is true.
So from the time frame you found out, I know you said it was 2 years later that you actually were diagnosed with breast cancer. How long have you been on this journey, actually overcoming this?
Well, when I asked the doctor, I said, so basically the cancer has been growing since 2015 when I had my first mammogram, and she said, yes, ma'am. I was like, wow. And I was someone that worked out a lot. I stayed in the gym, so I wasn't really sick a lot because
Right.
I just really, if I get a cold, I go to the doctor, I get it checked out. And so I was already, blessed with a miracle because I went 2 years without knowing that
Absolutely.
I had cancer. And when I tell you, Marissa, I would wake up every day and I would cry because I didn't know if I was going to live, I was going to die. Each symptom that I would have in my body, I didn't know what was going on, what was happening. All I knew was at that time was, okay, I can die at any point because I was stage 4. And I started having what they call anxiety attacks. Never had one before. When I started having them, it was fear. The fear was so strong to where I just pretty much stayed in my room crying every day because I didn't know what was happening to me. So I ended up finding a church. Well, I was already born in church, but I ended up becoming a member of the church that I'm at, which is Covenant Love. Started talking to my pastor. I started praying. I thought I had faith. I didn't have the faith nowhere near what I thought I had. I had to change my whole lifestyle. And I had to start reading my Bible. I had to start going to church, not just on Sunday. I had to start taking disciple classes on Wednesday because, for one, I had a will to live. I wanted to be here for my family. My youngest son, like I said, he's 10. There was no way I can really even process the thought of not being here and him not having a mom. That just didn't register with me at all. And I used to say, why did I have a child, from such a distance from my other kids because they're 10, 11 years apart. And then it all made sense to me. He was here because every day that I get up, I look at that kid, and that's my driving force. That is what made me get up in the morning. And people ask, how are you able to do it? How are you able to go through this process? For one, my will to live. For two, my faith. I stand on God's word and I pray every morning. When I get up, the first thing I say is, God, thank you for healing me. Thank you for restoring my health, and thank you for the miracle. Because that's what I believe. I refuse to believe anything else. I know there's a plan and a purpose that God had for me, and that was to tell my story and to show the process that I'm going through because other women would have to see that. Because, like I said, I didn't have anybody to witness and to see what it was that was going through in the process. So I felt like that was my plan and the purpose that God had for me. And so I felt like, okay, this is not about me at all. And that's getting a little deeper in it. But like I said, when I would wake up and I would cry because I thought I was dying. I was like, that's not a way I want to live. I don't want to live in fear every day. I don't want to have to wake up, my husband and my children happen to see me depressed, and even though I'm going to the hospital, there was a point in the hospital I had to go to the hospital because my kidney was failing, and I was in the hospital for I think about a good 3 weeks, and that was a scary time for me because my kidney level was so low. It was like, if we don't get it right, you're gonna have to be on dialysis. So my body was in so much pain. There's time that I can't get out of bed. I may be in bed 3 days straight. Can't get up, brush my teeth, can't get up and wash, can't do any of that. And that's because the pain be so difficult. And I have a good, when I say I have a good partner, my husband blessed me. I mean, God blessed me with the best husband. That within itself is a blessing, because there's no way you can go through this by yourself. You just can't. You have to have support. You have to have caregivers, people that's going to be able to be there for you whenever there's time that you can't do things on your own. Because like I said, the pain is difficult. For me, I have cancer pretty much from my skull all the way down to my knees, multiple tumors, and I just found out a couple weeks ago that the cancer has spread to my brain. And even at that time when I found out the cancer has spread to my brain, because my faith is so much bigger now, my relationship with God is so much bigger now, I used to say to myself, if that was to happen, how would I trust God? Like, would I be able to trust God to get me through this? And I trust Him 100%. You know, I don't wake up crying like I used to. I really, truly believe in my heart that God is going to see me through this. That He's really going to see me through it.
You know, just hearing your story, it just shows how strong you are of an individual. A lot of people who have been or are going through this situation, a lot of them give up instantly, and they think of basically a death wish. But for you to say, hey, no matter what, there's some days I might be down, but there's other days I get up. And I know you said that your family is your biggest support system, specifically also your 10-year-old son. He motivates you and drives you every day. What would be something that pushes you constantly through the struggle of and everything you're going through?
To be honest, Marissa, outside my family, my friends, and my church family, I don't want any other female or man, because people, they don't realize that men get breast cancer too. I don't want anyone having to go through some of the things that I had to go through. Not knowing, not being educated, not having enough knowledge to understand that there's more to it than just breast cancer. You know, there's the different stages. You know, I have people still ask me to this day, what is metastatic breast cancer? African American women, you know, there's racial disparities that people don't understand, and African American women die at a higher rate than any other race. And I wanted to tell my story and just let people know about my everyday life, because of the fact that, you know, for one, you don't see a lot of people like myself. When I would look at TV or commercials, and, you know, I don't see anyone of color. And that's where I felt lost at, because I'm like, okay, I know there has to be someone else like me that's out there. And I felt alone. And I've met a lot of people throughout this experience that I'm going through. And, you know, some people give up. Some people realize that this is too tough for me. I can't go through it. They don't have the support. They don't have the love, and they just don't have it. So, and they're by themselves and they're alone. They just give up. And when you give up, that fight is not there. That if it's not there, then, you know, if you don't have that will to live, and, you know, you're not positive, you're just not getting up trying to live life, you're not going to be here long. You know, when I get up in the morning time, I think about, okay, you know, most people, they call it a bucket list. I don't have a bucket list. I call it a live, love, life list, because
I love that.
it's all about life for me. You know, the things that used to bother me, the little things, the big things, I don't let it get to me anymore. I don't let it stress me out anymore. Because I think about the blessings that I have and the things that I'm already thankful for. Throughout this whole process, I was able to work. I had to just stop working, quit my job after being diagnosed in 2 years. And that was hard for me, because I worked so hard to get to where I was at in my career, and it was like having to let all of that go, and it was a part of me. So emotionally, I felt defeated, you know. People look and they think it's easy, but it's not. I wake up every day with a lot of pain. They're like, oh, you got yourself together, you dress well, and sometimes I may, have a wig on, I may have my nails done. All my nails came off. I lost all my hair. The fatigue is really tough. And when I say there's days that I stay in bed to the point where I can't brush my teeth. Sometimes it hurts to get up just to go pee. And I'm really blessed because, like I said, my husband, he don't complain. He work at Goodyear, he work night shift. We drive 2 hours just to get to my appointment. And my son, he had to come in my room because there's things that mommy couldn't do no more. So instead of making me feel bad, he'll come and he'll bring this game and everything. He was like, Mom, let's play this or let's watch a movie together. Because when I tell you, kids are smart, they're really smart. He didn't want me to feel like I couldn't be a part of his life and that I couldn't be a part of him growing up. So when he's at work, he'll come and he'll sleep with me. And like I said, we'll watch a movie. And the support that I have, the prayers that I get from the people in my community, my family, it means everything because you can't go through this alone. And for some people who don't have the love and the support that I have, I can only imagine the things that they go through. So I used to didn't talk about myself. I didn't give myself props or credit, but I am strong. I have no other choice but to be strong because, like I said, my live to will is huge. I want to be here for my family. I want to be here to see my son graduate, not just high school, but college. And because of my relationship that I have with God now, it's going to get done, And like I said, I refuse to believe anything other than that. And unless you're in the breast cancer world sometimes, there's a lot of negativity. So you have to find ways to remain positive. You have to find ways to love yourself. And even with your appearance, I used to, be slim and fit. Like I said, get my nails done, my hair done. And you start to get spots on you, blotches on your skin, and your nails come off, and your feet hurt so bad, and you get cracks in your skin. I have a port here, and I have lymphedema on my arm. My arm swells so much. I laugh when people laugh, and I tell them it's bigger than Popeye the Sailor Man when he eats spinach. But them are things that you don't expect to happen. And when you're a girly girl, you want to feel pretty, and sometimes you just don't. And women think because, even though I haven't had my breast removed, because, for me it was too late to have that happen. But some women that get their breast removed, they don't feel like themselves, they don't feel pretty. And you have to kind of talk yourself into, feeling beautiful again. Lucky for me, I have my husband. He tells me all the time I'm pretty. And even though sometimes it's just like, okay, I don't believe it. He just tells me that because he's my husband. But I just try to find ways to just remain positive and not let the little things bother me. And I'm so appreciative of my family, my friends, the ones that remain strong for me because, it's not just you that's going through it. It's also them. It's not just your life changing. It's their life changing too. My life it depends on how I feel. Everything that we do depends on how I feel. Vacation has to depend on how I feel. Because when you on chemo and you throwing up constantly, you can't eat. I can be, at the movies, and all of a sudden it turns around just like that. So we're having to leave. So everything depends on what is going to happen that day, and you just have to set yourself up, be prepared for changes. And I always tell people, don't get upset with me if I have to cancel stuff, I don't show up. You best believe it's because I'm not feeling well.
Right.
And I try to, whenever I'm feeling good, I try to take advantage of that day. And I try to do things, but I try not to overdo it because sometimes you overdo it and then, you start getting sick again. And I have to wear a mask and protect myself from people from getting the colds. I have to wash my hands constantly. So it's a big change in your life. It's a huge change.
Well, Nunny, I have to say, you're a phenomenal woman. You're beautiful inside and out. And
Appreciate it.
just having you here today to tell your story, it warms me up inside. And I think this is something that a lot of people, not just women, really have to hear. Because as you stated before, men can also get breast cancer as well. So I know you're doing great things, as far as within the community. You're sharing your story. After you overcome this, what's your next step?
Whew. Well, I tell everybody, once I get that news, cancer I've gone, because I'm gonna hear that. We're gonna party it up. We're gonna be doing some Holy Ghost dancing. But I will remain speaking. I will remain telling my story. I will remain being an advocate, and just letting women and men know the things to look forward to, and listen to your bodies. When I had a bone scan, it showed that I had progression. And I started feeling dizzy and having headaches. And I knew for me that wasn't normal. And I know with the weather changing, the physicians thought, it could be because of the weather, allergies, and things of that nature. I'm like, no, something's kind of different. And I said, well, for my peace of mind, let's just get an MRI done of my brain just to be sure. Because, like I said, you meet a lot of people with breast cancer, a lot of females, and they tell you some of the symptoms. So I said, for peace of mind, let's just do that. And we did, because you have to have a good relationship with your doctor. And my doctor, she's wonderful. And we have a relationship, and, she listens to me, I listen to her. So we did the MRI, and she called me and she said, Keila, I'm so glad that you fought to have the MRI done, because she said it indeed showed that the cancer has spread to your brain. And that's why I tell people, your body better than anybody. You have to listen. If you feel something's not right, go to a doctor. If you don't have a good relationship with your doctor, if they don't listen to you, don't be afraid to fire them, because this is my third physician. I fired the first one and the second one, and I went and got another opinion at a cancer center in Boston. So you have to do what's right for you, because at the end of the day, it's your life.
Right.
And if you don't feel comfortable with something, or you feel that you want to check something out, even if you have to pay for it yourself and your insurance don't cover it, it's worth it. Because if I would have the option to pay for an ultrasound or to get a biopsy, I could have caught this a long time ago. And I try not to think about that, because that was at the beginning when I was angry, because you go through certain stages. And I try not to think about this, because I look at things, everything happened for a reason. And like I said, God had a plan and a purpose for me. And but you have to listen to your body. So I want people to know that. I want them to hear my story, so that way they can, feed off of it and say, okay, well, you know what? I remember she said this, so let me go ahead and get this checked out. Because something's just not right. Don't be afraid. It's your body, and
Right.
listen to it.
Well, I appreciate you coming here today, Nani. And I look forward to speaking with you soon.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you inviting me, Marissa.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for watching. Today we had our wonderful guest, Nani, here. It's important for all of us to remember to pay attention to our bodies, to make sure that any type of signs that we're not feeling right, take care of yourself. Go to the doctor, not only for women, but for men, for everyone overall. So again, we'll stay tuned, and we'll see you next week.